morning. We thank you so much for the opportunity we have together, the opportunity to once again be in your house, to fellowship together, to have a meal together, now, Lord, to feed our spirits together. We just pray that you'll guide us through this time, that you will, Father, help us to learn more about you. We pray this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, this morning we're going to do a little bit different than we've been doing. We're going to open up with a video by a man named Francis Chan. Francis Chan used to be out in Silicon Valley of California. Started a church there, grew it into a huge, giant 20,000 person church, and then decided that that isn't really what God had planned. And so he left that, and he now heads up a little street ministry in one of the towns there, and working with people. And he's going to share a little story this morning of some things that happened, and then we're going to share some more and discuss and talk and just kind of share that, kind of show you where we come from. Okay? So this guy's name again is Francis Chan. Thank you.
Then about an hour after he made that announcement, the local supermarket, Trader Joe's, called us. And they said, hey, all of our refrigerators just broke down. Will you guys take all of our meat? And these U-Hauls, they told me, there was like 6 U-Haul trucks filled with meat. Like marinated chicken, pork chops, steaks, spare ribs, like just showed up to the front door. And it's like, wow, that is awesome. It's just this whole idea of we're experiencing God as we do these things. Man, this one guy, James, I knocked on his door and went in his apartment, and I got to share the gospel with him, and he asked Jesus into his life. We're praying for him, but he'd been a crack addict for 40 years. We brought him over to our house to have a birthday party, and he brought all of his drugs and paraphernalia and a hammer, and we just smashed it all in the backyard and buried it, and had a little birthday party for him. And then he said, but pray for me. Pray for me because the first of the month is coming up. He goes, on the first of the month, everyone gets their welfare checks. We pay our rent, the rest of it we buy drugs. Everyone is gone on the first of the month. Everyone is so messed up on the first of the month. And he goes, it's a routine for me. And he goes, I'm scared because the first of the month is coming up in a few days. Pray for me. So we prayed for him, and I thought, I'm going to do more than pray for him. I'm going to go to him, and I'm going to walk with him all day long because this is my brother now. Okay? And I'm going to stick with him. So the first of the month comes, and I get the flu. And so I'm sick. I think it was like March 1st this year. Oh no, man, I am so sick I can't get to James. And so, the good thing is one of our volunteers, this kid named Aaron, calls me, and he goes, hey, it's okay. Hey, I'm going to go visit James today. I'm like, good. Stay with him. Man, that's really cool. But then once I hung up the phone, part of me was like, man, I want to be there. Aaron. This guy's been addicted for 40 years. He doesn't need Aaron. He needs Francis Chan. Right? Aaron, he hasn't written anything. Who is he? In my head, I'm thinking, no, I gotta be there. I gotta say the right words. But, man, at the end of the night, Aaron calls me up and he goes, man, you'll never believe I gotta talk to you. You'll never believe what happened. He was just on fire. He goes, Francis, so I took James, we put all the money in an account so that he couldn't just give it to drug dealers. Then we talked. He goes, and he told me, he goes, man, it's been years since he hasn't been high on the first of the month. And he said, so I said, let's go celebrate. Let me take you out to dinner. So he goes, we go out to dinner. I'm looking for this one place, and I can't find it on my GPS. And we see a Popeye, so I'm like, let's just go there. It's a chicken place. And he goes, let's go over there to that chicken place. And he goes, man, I got to sit down, and I walked through Romans 6 through 8 with James and talked about the Spirit, and talked about how this can turn you around. He goes, man, it was so awesome. He goes, I've never had such a great time in the Word with someone else. He goes, but then I looked at James, and I go, man, how did it all start for you? And James goes, man, he goes, I remember I was 19 years old. He goes, I was 19, I already smoked pot a little bit, I drunk, I've been drinking. And then I came to work, and my boss offered me cocaine. He just lined it up in the back. He goes, I remember I was curious, so I tried it, and I was hooked. I fell in love with it. At first, I just kind of did it casually, but I just had to have more and more and more. And now it's been 40. I was 19. I just turned 59. He goes, I'll never forget. He goes, because I was a cook. He goes, I was a cook at this restaurant, and he brought it into the back room. He actually brought the cocaine. This is my boss. Brought the cocaine into this little back, and he stops. And he looks around. He goes, wait, this is the restaurant. This used to be the name of the restaurant. This used to be this is $5.99 to visit there. Yes, it is. He goes, this is the very room where it happened. And he stood up and he had chills all over his body. He goes, man, 40 years ago in this room is where it all started. And I've been lost in this desert for 40 years, and then God takes me to the very room where it started to deliver me. He goes, if I ever doubted God, I will never doubt Him again. Isn't that cool? Aaron's on the phone telling me the story. I don't know who was more excited, James or Aaron, because why? He was out making disciples, and man, I have so many stories to tell you, stories of healing, supernatural things. But the bottom line is, look, it all happens out there. It's probably not going to happen in your youth group. It's probably not going to happen in this room today. You want to experience God, you want to experience the supernatural, then actually do what they talked about last night. And actually go to people and try to make disciples. Some of you don't feel like you experience the Holy Spirit. It's probably because you sit in church all the time trying to experience Him, rather than going out and living the life of faith and trying to make disciples. Go into the unseen and actually sharing with them. You know that passage?
So that was the middle of a conference he was at, teaching something. But what he's saying is, for the biggest majority of us, even you, you're not going to experience God here. You're going to hear about Him, you're going to learn about Him, but to really experience God, you've got to be out there doing it. Now, what does he mean by doing it?
Connecting with people.
Connecting with people. Connecting with people. We do this ministry here. We call it a ministry. We do it here because we want to connect with you. We want to be able to connect and say, okay, here's what God has to us. A lot of people don't realize God's a load of laundry. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes to some people, yeah. God's a breakfast. Yeah. If you take care of the physical needs, then you have time to talk about the spiritual needs. And we all have spiritual needs. We have a very similar story to his story that he shared in there. About working at the mission and having no meat. You guys, most of you all experienced Irma last year, right?
Yes.
And Irma came through it, and we were like, okay, now what can we do for the community? Well, we can open up and do showers, and we can do meals and stuff, and laundry and stuff just like we do here. But we did it on an everyday basis for 17 days. We cooked 3 meals a day, every day. And do you know how much food we bought? None. It all started with one person who said, hey, power's out, my refrigerator freezers are down, do you have anything you can do with this food? Well, yes, we do. And we went and cleaned out their freezers and refrigerators and brought it here, and whatever we had, we put together some meals. And it was the next day someone called and said, hey, my refrigerator and freezers are down. They're going to go bad. One guy had 3 freezers. Hey, my freezers are down. Okay. And we fed anybody and everybody who came through here on food that people just donated. Here, it's going to go bad, let's use it. Put it to use. So we did that. We did shower stuff. Yeah, we had damage. Yep, we had water all over this floor, and that whole room was soaked and everything else. But it didn't stop us from doing. Why? God. Where did food come from? God. Yeah, it was people donating something like that, but it was God. We tell people, they could have donated it anywhere. They called here. Hey, we got this, we got this. You know, we do those things. That's how God works. He'll supply that. That's how God gives us to you. I mean, we came up with the idea, hey, let's do this ministry. And when you're together with a bunch of church people sitting in a room like this, how do we find you? Where do we go? Will they even trust us to get in a van with us? I mean, you're getting in a van with strangers and they're taking you down the road. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah.
I could be an axe murderer. And yet you got in a van with us and came down the road, and here we are. And some of you have been here, Wayne, how many times? Years? 5 years? About as long as we've been doing the ministry. I mean, and we get friendships. You know, we know names. You know, we know Barb. We know. Craig sits back here and asks, "What church you going to?" Now, he didn't just ask that because he was nosy. He's asking that because if you said, "Well, we're not going to church right now," Craig was going to pounce on you. Weren't you, Craig?
Yes, sir.
He was ready to share with you his Jesus. He's ready to say, well, you know, here we do, and if you want to be a part of that, and in order to be a part of that, you have to be out there. You know, how many people today asked you what church you go to?
Couple, 2, 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
How many people were around you?
Well, we know God. Yeah.
I mean, but I'm talking our people that were around you, you know, that didn't ask. Some people are too shy to ask those things. Some people are just happy doing laundry. Some people, you know, their ministry is different parts of what they do. But some people can't wait. Craig is one of those that can't wait
Witness.
to tell someone about Jesus, to witness, to say, hey, do you know?
Yeah, that's
you know?
awesome.
And if we give that to you, if we say, here's a little bit of my Jesus, of our Jesus, here's a little bit of our God. You know, that's what we try to give you each month, is a little bit of our God. Here, this is Him. You know, we've talked about Noah in here, we've talked about Abraham, we've talked about David, we've talked about all kinds of different people. You know, today we're just talking about you. Because now you become part of our Jesus and our God. You become part of our ministry. And our ministry isn't just to feed and give it to you, but it's then to say, okay, Barb, who are you going to share it with? You know, you've got a little bit of Jesus in you and stuff. Now, who do you give that to? And Wayne, how do you share that with somebody? And different people. I mean, what do you do to get that out? You know, and it might be simply, hey, I go to this ministry once a month on Saturday. Why don't you come with me? You know, do you know someone that could use their laundry done? Do you know someone that needs a shower? I mean, a shower makes you feel real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Revives you, gets you back. Yep. Do you know someone that could use a meal? Do you know someone that needs Jesus? Because Francis said in his thing, Jesus changes lives. You know, it's not about being in this building and stuff. He kept saying it there. It happens where? Out there. Where are you guys at? Out there. You know, you have a bigger platform for ministry a lot of times than we as the church do. I mean, it's sad. Sometimes we as a church, you know what we do? We sit back and wait for someone to come through those doors. But we try to make a conscious effort, hey, we're not going to wait for them to come through the doors. Let's go out and get them. You know, and once you said, hey, I go to this church, great. You know, now how do we support you in going to that church? You know, what else can we give you? What else do you need that you're going there? I mean, we don't want you to come here. We do. But if you're going somewhere else, we don't want you to come here. We want you to go where you're going. We want you to go where you're being fed spiritually for God. If you're not going somewhere to be fed spiritually for God, we're more than open to say, hey, well, we'll come get you. You know, our van doesn't just run on Saturday once a month. Our van can run any day and get you and bring you to church or whatever and stuff like that. So, you know, we want to make that available because it's not just about the one day. This ministry is not just about this Saturday and then we forget you for a month. You know, people plan and put things together and get things ready and go buy supplies, do all that so that we're ready for you. Because we want you to have a good experience here. So we want to be able to give you Jesus as best we can. And if we give you Jesus, Jesus isn't just with you on Saturday when you're with us, is he? He's with you every day, 24 hours a day. And just as he talked in the story about that drug addict's life being changed, Jesus wants to change your life.
Amen.
He wants you to make you more than you think you can be.
Amen.
You know, that's what He's all about. That's the whole purpose and reason why He died on the cross.
Amen.
So that we could have Him. The only one perfect human being ever to live. The only one who is capable of being sacrificed for our sins. The only one whose blood makes a difference in our lives. And that's what we're here about. That's why we do your laundry. That's why we let you take showers. That's why we feed you a big meal. Because we want to take care of all your physical needs so you don't have something that you want today right now. And you can focus on God. You could hear the words of Francis Chan telling you, you know, it's happening, but it's out there, and man, you guys are out there. You see more of it than we ever see. You know, your feet are on the pavement, aren't they? Whose lives can you change for Christ because of what you get? How can the world be made different with you in it? You know, that's my whole goal. My whole goal in my life is that I leave the world better than it was before I got in. You know, what is your goal? Sometimes living on the street, so maybe your goal is to make it to tomorrow, to get to the next day. What does the next day hold? You know, we believe that without Christ, the next day is just as hopeless as today. But with Christ, there's hope that tomorrow is going to be better, that things can be turned around as we turn over our lives to Him. Now, I thought it was kind of a neat story in there about the guy that was on the drugs, that finally when he decided to be free, and understanding the story, it was a choice he had to make. That first of that month came, he could have taken his money and bought drugs with the rest of them, or he could have stuck with the choice he made to change. And what a remarkable change. That God would bring someone to his life that would take him right back to the very place and very room that he took his first snort. That kind of brings it real, doesn't it?
Jesus.
And when you in your life go back to that place, where did it begin? You know, my son Jesse has moved to Tennessee in the past month and trying to find a job, do something. He has lived the last month out of his car. He has two good friends that go to the East Tennessee State University, and they have let him come in each night and sleep in their room. And it's funny that I was preparing last night, watching this video for about the third time, trying to get it in my head what Francis was talking about. And my son, who's up there, calls me. Now, he called me 7 times yesterday. He called me first thing in the morning and he goes, "Dad, I don't want to go to work." I said, "Well, you got to go then. You made a commitment." And he's driving for Dinner Dash. It's like a Grubhub or something. It's delivering food to people that order and do stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, but I got to go to work today at 10, and I got to work till 10 o'clock tonight." He said, "So 12-hour shift, I do this." I said, "Well, you'll get through it." That was at 8:30. At 10:30, he called me and he said, "Dad, I got a problem." "What?" "I'm sitting on the side of the road, I got a flat tire." I said, "Well, the problem is this. I'm 1,000 miles away. And I can't change your tire." I said, "What you got to do?" He said, "Well, I'm like a block from where I need to deliver the food. And they're on a clock. They're on a time clock." And I said, "Hump it." He goes, "What?" I said, "Get the food there, then you can worry about your car." He says, "Yeah, because if you're late, you don't get paid." So he took off. Now, let me tell you about my son. My son weighs about 500 pounds. He's a big boy. And he humped it down there, got the food there. When he got there, the guy said, "Where's your car?" It's on the side of the road down here at the flat. "Oh, hang on a minute." He went in. He said, "I appreciate you getting here on time," stuff like that. And he was sweating and everything. And he says, "Here's a $20 tip." He says, "And those two boys over there are going to go change your tire for you."
Yeah.
He's like, "What?" He calls me and said, "Dad," when he first called about flat tire, he said, "Worst day of my life. Worst day of my life, Dad. It's just, it's falling apart. I guess I might just come home." That's, well, that's an option. But you'll never know what you could be if you don't stay. He said, "Yeah," and he said, "But it's just, I'm tired, this and this." He got every excuse in the book. You ever come up with excuses? He had them all. No matter what I said to him, he's like, "Well, but." And I said, "Did you pray about it?" "No." "Maybe it's time to turn it over." He didn't like my answer. So he called his mother, who's a school teacher at school, and he tells her, this is what's going on. She's like, "Jesse, I'm in the middle of class. I don't have this long. What do you need?" "Oh, I just want to know about this." And she said, "Okay, here's my answer. Pray about it and go to work." So he said to me in his next phone call, I sat there on the side of the road, having my pity party, cried a little bit, prayed to God, said, "Hey, things have got to turn around, I don't know what to do." He got his next dinner dash, had to go to the hospital. It was $177 worth of food for the 7th floor nursing ward. He got to the hospital, elevator out of service. Remember I told you how big my boy is? He huffed it up 7 flights of stairs, up to that floor, stood in the alcove of it going, he said, "I had to compose myself." He said, "I came walking out, they could see I'm profusely sweating," stuff like this, gave it to him. And the nurses gathered around him and had prayer with him. That doesn't happen every day. I mean, you're having a bad day, does people on the street gather around you and have prayer with you? Complete strangers? I mean, that's pretty much what happened to him. And he's like, "Wow." And he called later that evening. And he said, "Dad, that prayer I did and that prayer those people did has really turned the day around." He went to his next spot to deliver food, which was an auto mechanic's garage, who saw the donut on his car. And the guy said, "Well, you can't be delivering food with that," and gave him a tire. I mean, and the whole day just kept happening like this. And the only reason I'm telling you this is because that was nothing about me. That was nothing about his mom. That was nothing about the nurses praying. That was nothing. You know what that was? God.
Jesus.
When he finally said his own prayer and turned it over, God then stepped in. And that's what we're trying to do. This is not about me standing up here this morning talking to you. This is God saying, "What do you need?" What can we at New Hope give you to help you give to others what they need? You know, did you think to take 2 shampoos today? Because you have someone out there that needs them. Did you get 2 soaps? You know, the supplies are sitting over. Did you get a couple so that you have some you can share with somebody? Or did you just get for you? It's about changing your mind to start thinking, even though we're where we are, we're all somewhere in life, there's someone else who needs us to be there in their time of need. Francis Chan left a church of 20,000 people to go to a street ministry where, if you didn't hear it in there, they were to feed all these people the next day, and they had what? No money in the bank. He went from this mega church where he was making thousands a month to the street ministry where, if you watch this whole story, they can't even pay him sometimes. Why did he do that?
That was Jesus.
Because of Jesus. Because of God. He allowed God to put him where he needed him most. Not what benefited him most. And today we want you guys to be where God can use you most. For you to think about, how can God use me in other people's lives? The way He's using us in your life. I mean, in life, in the street, oftentimes they call it paying it forward, passing it on. You know, how can we pay forward what we've been given and do those type of things? And we want you guys to start getting that thought, because that's the thought line of Jesus. You know, what can I do for you? You know, if you look in the Bible and look at His ministry, everything was about what? Us. Even His prayer in the garden with His Father, you know,
Giving it away.
thinking about Him. Have your way, God. It's not my will, yours be done, He said. Whatever you want, God, I'm here, I'll do it. And if we can get that attitude about us, whatever you want, God, I'm here, I'll do it, we'd be better off. So I just want to leave you with that. I don't want to dwell on it deeper. I mean, think on the video. Think on the different things. Look in your own life. Look at stories. I mean, I can come up with 5 stories from this week that have been in my life that all lend to this story. You know, from the time back with Irma to my son yesterday. I mean, all those things lend in. That's God showing and pointing to me. That bolsters my faith, seeing it work in my son. It bolsters my faith being a part of a church that was able to reach out and serve the entire community during a disaster and storm. You know, it shows me God at work. Well, we want to feed. How in the world do we feed these people? Just like Him. We got all these people, we have no meat. 6 truckloads of meat show up at your door an hour after you pray. If that isn't God, and every cooler in a store going down at once, you know, I can see one. You know, sometimes my refrigerator goes out, my freezer still works. But everything going on at once, who was that?
Jesus.
God. To feed His people, to take care of what needed to be done. So, I want to leave that with you all. I mean, what can you do now, as we pour into you, what can you do to pour into others in their lives? So everybody got any stories, anything that they've done or want to share? Things that have been done to you, people have done?
I know I'm an alcoholic and I'll be celebrating 20 years in October. And I've had to give it away many times in order to keep it, because I love people so much, and I love people because Jesus first loved me. And I've received so much from the Lord that it's impossible for me to keep it all by myself. And I want to tell others about it because I love Him so much. I want to share Him with others.
Yep. Anything else? Stories are private. Huh?
It takes so long.
How long you got, Bill?
As long as he gives me.
As long as you think in your head, you know, what has gone on in my life in the last week or month or whatever, that I can see God working in me. You know, and what can I do with that to show others or help others or guide others towards that same?
For me, it was just being an encouragement sometimes to other people, because if they can see me doing it, and if I'm willing to do it and go and to put myself out there out there in front to do what I need to do to help others, if they see me doing that, that'll encourage them to do it too.
So be an encouragement to others.
Yeah. Sometimes.
There was a Goodwill bus that was caught on fire, and I was going 940 for Bayshore Road, and I jumped out the car, and through God, and had faith in God, I went in there and got the guy in the wheelchair out, and he survived, and then he burned down. But whenever you're going you run, you go through it. You know, and I'm like, God's got, you know, in there.
Do you think God had you at that place at just the right time to do that act? You know, and it's sometimes we think, well, it was just a miracle, and I was like, no, it was God that directed you to be at the right place. And then, like you said, you had a choice. I could keep on going, or I could stop and help. You know, and how many times do we just keep on going? You know, but if your words, God's got this, so.
Many times the Lord will put us in that position where we have no other choice other than to help that person.
Yeah. So.
The bus driver done left him at all. He was in there.
Did he jump out?
No, he's in the wheelchair.
Oh. The driver was in a wheelchair?
No, the driver done left and went over there by the Juicy Lucy.
That's what I said, he jumped
I
out.
got to the back of the Goodwill, I could see him in there through the smoke.
Right now,
They got onto that.
New Jersey or something.
So. Anything else?
I got it.
I know many times today that how much God reveals to me that how much He loves me because of the answered prayers that I receive. And I don't think it's just by coincidence that God answers my prayers. I think He takes into account that He loves me for the fact that I'm helping others.
All right. So just think in your mind, what is it I've gotten, and what can I do with it? You know, we're each better off than someone else out there. And someone always needs us. So be willing to help and share and do when that opportunity arises. Kevin, you want to close us in prayer?
Sure. Our precious Heavenly Father, Lord, we again humble ourselves before you, knowing that your awesome powers and will for our lives, Lord, that you would work through each one of us here. Lord, inspire us to take, God, take us with you wherever we go. And Lord, may others see you and your work through us, that would draw them unto you, that you would receive the glory. We pray, Lord, that you would watch over each individual here, and Lord, that you would speak with them and guide them in paths of righteousness. And Lord, again, you would see us safely to our destination and return us again, that we could share again your word and your message. We ask this all in Jesus Christ.
If